Welcome to Belief, Being, and Beyond with your host, Granddaughter Crow. Hi, everybody. Granddaughter Crow here for another episode of Belief, Being, and Beyond. And I brought some beyond to you. We are going to be talking about the Mandarin tree, which was written by Pamela Chen and Samantha Blossom, who I have here today, two Asian American mystics. Yo. Before we get into that, I just wanted to give you a little bit of a hint of what their bio is before we get to meet them. And we might even talk dragons and quantum physics and quantum mechanics and quantum particles. So this will be a great show. So let's go ahead and let me introduce. First, we do have the wonderful Pamela Chen, author, creator of decks for Llewellyn, as well as other publishing houses, Hay House, US Games. She currently has 10 publishing contracts in magic and spirituality, also does a lot of other things and mentoring and coaching, which we will find out a little bit more about. We also have Samantha Blossom. Can you dig that name? I love it. So Samantha does manifestation mentoring for business owners, entrepreneurs, visionaries to create their most blissed out life on and prosperous universe. I was going to say on purpose. And this combination of amazing beings, we're going to be digging a little bit into, well, I shouldn't say that. We are going to be looking, sitting underneath the Mandarin tree, manifest joy, luck, and magic. Who can't get enough of that? Two Asian American mystics teaching you how to use ancient Far Eastern magic in a modernized way. So, no matter what your background, and I love that they say this, no matter what your background or experience level is, you can do this work. So, big round of applause, even though we can't hear you, for my guests, Pamela Chen and Samantha Blossom. Say hello.
Hi everyone. That was like the best introduction ever.
That was so beautiful. Thank you so much. That was so fun.
Oh, yeah. Well, when I got something to work with, how can I go wrong? How can I go wrong? You know what? Before we get into, when I was looking at, digging into this book, looking at both of your websites, looking at what you do. They both have an author page on Llewellyn. Check them out. You can also to see what other things they have, but they also, and I'll be dropping their personal websites in below so that you guys can check it out. We'll do a couple call outs. But when I'm looking over everything, one thing that I love to do on this show is kind of talk about things that mystical people are almost afraid to ask because now it's become such a commonized word. And there's one thing that all three of us have in common. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of things because we all love to be here to help other people live their best life on purpose. But we talk about quantum. We talk about quantum. I talk about quantum mechanics. I see words quantum miracles, quantum particles, quantum manifesting. So both of you, Pamela, you're up to bat first. Quantum, what? What is this quantum?
So it is a space that is already surrounding us, and within the quantum space, anything you desire, anything you can think of is already there. We both really believe that what you want is already in the quantum field, right? You're in an energetic field that's connected to your aura or your energetic field, and you can literally reach out and just manifest what you want. But we have to be in the same frequency and in alignment with that energy. So it just, for example, if you tune into a hip hop station, you can't really listen to country. And so we have to make sure that we also get to tune into what we desire. And that's how you quantum manifest.
Love that example. It's so true. It's so true. Tuning in into the vibration. And also, before I hit the ball over to Samantha, I wanted to add to that, you're talking about this vibration and everything. And one of the biggest things that I think starts aligning us with this quantum field is consciousness.
Mm.
Knowing that this exists, which we'll get into with the Mandarin tree. So, Samantha, talk to us about quantum miracles and what is this?
So from a like subatomic particle level, we're all made of energy. So we have the perspective that it looks like we're separate, but like everything is just alchemizing, it's just shifting and changing. And I feel like we have so much more power to change and shift our realities if we can learn how to tune into I almost see it as a dial of like shifting your own frequency. And there's multiple timelines of reality that are all already available. And we're just turning the dial to shift ourselves into different worlds and dimensions. And so the more we learn about our own bodies, we learn, oh, okay, this gets me open into an expansive state. This makes me contracted. When you're more open and flowing, the energy is more malleable, so it can shift and change more easily. And if you can shift and change more easily, you have ways of quantum leaping into jumping into new realities. When we're contracted, it becomes more dense and more solid and more grounded and earthy. So it makes it harder to shift and change.
Love that. And another thing is that, I kind of did a little bit of listening to, your backgrounds individually. I know, Pamela, you kind of talk a little bit about, I mean, you're the real deal because you weren't just like, oh, I was born a star being and I never touched Muggle life, even though you might be a Dragon Star Fairy, wonderful person now. But I love that, you bring that essence, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that. And then I'll toss the ball over to Samantha and say, in reading about your childhood, I too very much studied world religions and everything. So, Pamela, talk to us a little bit about, the reality of moving your way up from this muggle mentality into where you are living like your best life and helping others to manifest.
Yeah, so I do think that I did have like a core belief because my family was Buddhist. So when we're growing up, they would say like pray to Kuan Yin, pray to this god, goddess, and you'll get what you want. So I did kind of have like that belief, but I couldn't, get messages, or I wasn't psychic, or I didn't feel energy at all. And it wasn't until I moved up to Vegas from Hawaii when I was 20 years old, and I just got this like nudge to go to this hotel for a holistic fair by myself.
Right.
And when I got there, these ladies were holding these crystal bracelets and they were like, it feels so good. And so I grabbed one and I was like, what does it? It doesn't feel like anything. It didn't feel like anything to me. And then I was walking by a booth, and my first Reiki teacher and psychic development teacher, she pulled me in and she's like, you need to work with me. And I was like, okay. And so with that, I practice, right? I started taking all these other courses. I started getting certified in everything. And so I learned how to work with energy. I learned how to open myself up to receive.
Nice. I love that. So basically, Pamela just said that crystals are the gateway drug to mystics and
Yeah.
energy. I mean, seriously, crystals and gems are the gateway. If you're looking for something, hold them until you can connect with them and vibrate up and out. I love that because that really is, I mean, you didn't say that, but it's true.
It's very true. Yes.
So, Samantha, tell us a little bit about how you arrived, because I read a little bit that you had a lot of different mystical experiences, but also within like Catholicism and Buddhism, and yet studied world religions. And I was raised very Christianized and study world religions, continuously. So tell us just a little bit about how that experience drew you into where you are now with working with this manifestation and helping people in this quantum particle energetic field.
It is interesting. I feel like ever since I was really young, I was like, I just kind of, it was funny because I would say like, wait, I know I can do this magic. Why isn't it working? I would like say that to myself, like, how come I'm not able to like move this thing? And I remember when I was real, like as young as I can remember, I was like, okay, remember why you're here. Like, don't forget this time. Like, remember why you're here. So, and I think that both my parents had they had a very eccentric view of reality. So I think both of them had a big influence on me in that way. But I've always just had this like deep connection, I feel like, to the cosmos. And I don't know how to explain it really other than just like an internal knowing. And I almost felt like I was like continuously seeking until like in my 20s, where I was like, universe, like I need to know, like, why am I here? Like I need a strong like feeling, that like lets me know, like some deep clarity. And then I feel like that was such a big prayer, maybe to myself and to the universe, that all of a sudden my friend the next day, she's from South Africa and British, and she was like, oh, are you into channelers? And then it was like the door just like kept opening, like I had my first teacher that taught about Octurians, and it was just like this door opener that just kept opening for me.
I love that. I think that that's another similarity that each of us share, and that a lot of listeners probably share and maybe are a little bit like, you know what, I relate to that, is being born with something inside of you that says, I know there's more, but I've got to like live this life and I've got to do that. But then when you get out on your own, you start all of a sudden, you're just like, the universe starts opening doors, pulling you into Reiki classes, channeling, and now pulling you onto belief, being and beyond. Yo yo, shout out to Llewellyn. So the Mandarin tree, I mean, I could ask a really question like what brought this about, all of that, but and if you want to share, that's great. But what I really enjoy, and I haven't been able to read the whole thing, but I have been able to get in here, and I find it interesting that this was released in the year of the dragon.
Yeah, not planned at
No,
all.
and we were like, wow.
We're like, whoa.
Gateway dragon, hashtag dragon magic. So let's talk dragons.
I think the dragon in our so the dragon that we shared in our book is the Asian or Chinese dragon that Sam and I were connecting with, and the rituals and the meeting your guides is directed to that dragon, but really you can work with any dragon. And the funny thing is our book was actually a little bit delayed or something. So I don't think it was supposed to, I think it was supposed to come out sooner. I don't think it was supposed to come out the year of the dragon, and all of a sudden it did. And I don't even think Llewellyn asked us what we wanted on the cover, and we didn't say dragon. It was something completely different. There was a mandarin tree, and the artist, I don't know, they created this amazing, yeah, they created an amazing cover with the dragon on it, and the phoenix is the opposite of the dragon. So it was powerful. We do believe that it's like you can use a dragon energy to manifest like really big opportunities, immense power.
I love that. I was dragged into, I touched a stone. That was my gateway drug. And then I went to this shaman who did like this past life regression. And one of the
Oh,
things that
wow.
he said was that after he finally found me, he said, you were in a cave, but there is a huge dragon with glasses, like little study reading glasses, very ancient, with this name that he could not repeat, that basically told him, you ain't going in there to get her. She needs to come in and she can come past me. Nobody else is allowed. And I found that interesting. And so I've been working. And so when he told me this, I was like, well, what color was it? It was like, oh, it was a golden ancient dragon. I think it had red eyes. And I look up in my room of these little things that I have hanging around, as we all do, these little mystical objects. I had a freaking golden dragon with red eyes just kind of hanging out there. And I was like, what? So, what do you guys think about that?
Whoa, I mean, I love that. I feel like dragons are like an untapped resource for us, you know. And here's the thing, it's like if we don't know to connect to them, then they can't. It's like there's free will, right? So when we take the time to say, hey, like I would love to have a message, I would love to connect, they can come in and do amazing things. And I think especially for someone like you, if you have any like past life connections to dragons, it's like the moment you let that door open, it happens so quickly, you know, because there's a lot of us, people that have been doing healing for several lifetimes. It's like it's in the DNA, it's in the coding, and suddenly the memories will start to turn on. And what I love about dragons is like apparently they don't exist in 3D reality, but they're so powerful that everyone on the planet believes in dragons. And so you know that it exists in a dimension. And so that's how powerful they are, that it almost crosses worlds, you know. So yeah, so that's what I love about the dragon.
I love that. And basically, in this book, listeners, you got to pick up The Mandarin Tree, by Pamela Chen and Samantha Blossom. We're talking about dragons right now, but if you really want to connect, this book actually takes you how to connect with your personal dragon to the degree that I have a friend on social media um, call out to Joelle K at the Viola Witch. Love you, girl. Reading your book right now, and I'm getting these little DMs. Oh my God, dragon. And then the next thing, a couple days later, my money frog, which I have. We could talk a little bit about that. But before we go into that, I actually said, well, I'm going to have them on the podcast as a reader of their book, not the host of the show, but just as a person. What question would you like for me to ask him? And she thought about it. And here's her question. So, do either of you have a recommendation for the length of time period to work with each of the animal guides that you write about in your book? Or is it intuition driven? Is it different for each person? So, how do you guys want to respond to Joelle?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think it is your intuition, but from the priestess lineages that I'm in, and we both do Kundalini, 40 days is a really powerful number. So in 40 days, when you practice something, not just rituals with, the ones in our book, but anything, chanting a mantra, chanting, singing, praying, then it really gets into your bones and your blood and you become it. So if you want to have something, be something, you do it every single day. And we are really big about that too. It's not just like a 1 day new moon practice. It's like your continuous daily practice that you're on top of. And that builds a magic within you and you start to expand then.
Love it. What do you think, Samantha?
I feel like each animal guide will be a little different because some you have a closer resonance with. So the moment that you connect with them, you're going to feel, whoa, like you're going to remember and all these things. And then there will be ones that you feel more distant, like you've never heard of them. It's like feels foreign to your system, right? So the ones that feel more foreign, I would say, just like what Pamela said, it's like then you want to take time to create a connection. So imagine these beings are super high vibrational beings, and then we're kind of in the Maya, and like we can sometimes be in these like dense, murky frequencies sometimes. And so by just having the practice of connecting with them, we start to clean up our fields and we begin to like rise up, right? We begin to rise up, we begin to ascend, things start to shake off. So that's the power of the practice. And so just like Pamela said, whether that's like 40 days or like 88 days, like I think you'll know. For me, when it's almost like I'm cooked, I'm like, oh, done, and almost like even if I try to play with it, I'm like, I can't. There's some like full or boredom to it or something. Then to me, I know it's not eliciting joy or excitement anymore. So it's like potentially that frequency is filled up in me, and I will go to the one that's like still creating some sort of electricity in my system.
Well put. I really like that. Like when you're like, I was cooked, I heard ding. Like, it was like, okay, we're done. And so hold on, gotta cut this. I started going blurry. And I get so excited. My quantum vibration starts blurring the
Yeah.
camera. So for you other listeners out there, DM me. Also, you can text the show. I wanted to give a quick call out to Karen from Anaheim, California. Literally go down. If you're listening to this, you can text the show. I can't text you back, but I can give you a call out. So if you have questions or comments or anything like that, text the show. Really want to be involved with the listeners. So back to dragons and money frogs. And what, if there's one thing for each of you that you'd want to kind of share with the Belief Being and Beyond listeners that you have in your book? I know this is a big question. I'm an author too. And it's just like, shit, what did I write? Sometimes. But is there one point that you kind of want to highlight about the book? Each of you. Pamela, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful place to start for either you're a beginner or you're advanced because you have these practices that's really laid out for you. So if you're a beginner, you don't have to think of what to do. And we made it really simple so that anybody can do it. And if you are a practitioner already, then you get to explore even beyond that with what we're sharing in the book. And so you could get really creative with the rituals, with the journeys that we included in the book. And Sam and I actually encoded this book, our writing, with quantum codes. And so it's not just reading, it's like you're receiving transmissions, you're receiving codes as you're reading this book. So even if you don't really understand the words, it's okay. You're receiving the energies for that expansion and up level.
Love that. I absolutely love that. That makes me feel like I could go, okay, what do I need to focus on today? And
That's
just
what Sam
flip,
does.
flip
That's
open
what
the book and it's like sacred code actions or activities. And I'm like, oh, sacred code activation, which is what we were just talking about, people. See, it works. I just did it. It's a divination book. So, Samantha, what would you like to add on about, to the listeners about the book?
Yeah, I feel like the phrase like it's magical, not logical, right?
I like
And I would say like frequency over, the rules of the thoughts in your mind. So I feel like we create these rules in our mind of like how reality happens.
yes.
And I feel like this is a way to like disrupt and release some of the old rules and allow you to create a new coding for yourself, right? So if you have the rule that something takes a long time to happen, that's the rule. If you want to disrupt that and say, actually, magic happens instantly, instantaneously, which means sometimes, like, let's say you have this payment thing, you're like, oh man, I gotta pay this much, but you trust it, and actually it's a portal to take you to something even better, and more money comes in, even though you logically paid it, but actually like you open a portal for a huge abundance to come in. So sometimes we don't know where that is, but I feel like this book brings you back to the frequency. So it brings you back to trust. So you'll be guided to the right action
Mm.
for yourself.
Absolutely love that because in my own research around just like quantum mechanics, I'll say it in more of a techie way, exactly what you just said. We have neural pathways, we have neurons, thinking cells, 86 billion in our brain. They're connecting, they're making these neural nets, and in those neural nets, we're storing old experiences, old emotions, but it leads us down the same path that you're like, oh, I'm always going to have a hard time. Oh, this always takes a long time. So basically, from a Granddaughter Crow point of view, if you want to disrupt your neural nets and actually manifest and disrupt them, break them apart, and all of that. So if you're enjoying the Belief Being and Beyond podcast and would like to support it, I'm on Patreon. Just go to Patreon, Granddaughter Crow, or you can find it at granddaughtercrow.com. Thank you so much. That, this is a great place where I actually want to talk to you individually because each of you do work. I know, Pamela, you have a deck coming out here on August 8th. I think it's by Llewellyn. Is that?
Yeah,
Yep.
Llewellyn.
Yeah, and it's all, what is it? Okay, check this out, guys. Steampunk fairy tarot.
Yes. Steampunk
We
Fairy Tarot.
we need this. So could you, Pamela, take a few minutes and tell them, a little bit about what you're excited about and rolling that out, how it comes, and then maybe also, I know that you have another business that you do mentoring, and what else do you do? Tell us a little bit more about you and how we can contact you and get a hold of you.
Sure. So, Steampunk Fairy Tarot is coming out 8/8 Lionsgate, which is like my favorite holiday in the world. So I'm so happy for that. These all just kind of came out at once. I don't know what happened. It was like the Mandarin tree, and then Catacorn Tarot with US Games also came out the same month. And then Steampunk, they were like, we're coming out. And then the next book coming out with Llewellyn is Wealth Witchery. I'm not too sure when yet. And the next deck with my business partner Alex is with Hay House, and it is Galactic Star Tarot. So we're going deep into the star beings there. So really excited for that. Alex and I, we are the co-founders of the Academy. So we train the next generation spiritual teachers, coaches, and healers to become really powerful, energetic practitioners. So having the tools and skills to be able to transform your own life and the life of others and your clients. We're really big about unity consciousness. So coming together as one, and ancient wisdoms. We really practice like the Vedas from 5,000 years ago, and we merge that with new technology, new energetic technology. And so we love to certify our clients and help them build a beautiful, fulfilling spiritual business online, and also high-level souls who's looking to just manifest their dream life. That's what we really love doing.
I really love that. And give us your website real quick.
Yeah, so I have a couple of websites, but you can find me on Instagram, actually, Pamela Unicorn. And so we do host free events every single month because we love giving back to the community. And so you can join us for these free, powerful, energetic, magical events. We do rituals. There's a lot of clearing work. There's a lot of manifestation. I love manifesting. And Pamela Unicorn is my Instagram.
I love that.
Thank you.
You are a unicorn, aren't you?
Thank you.
A fairy, a steampunk dragon unicorn combo, cosmic.
Oh, I love that. There is a dragon in the strength card, a steampunk dragon.
Oh, see? I mean, I got to get my hands on that just to see the steampunk dragon.
Yeah.
And the strength card?
Yes.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Okay, so Sam, I know you do a lot. I was checking out your website, and there's a lot of things that you can offer to once again help people elevate. And you tell me, I'm speechless. What else do you do, Sam?
Yeah, so I created a modality called the quantum particle. And so essentially, it is a high frequency particle of light. It's a nutrient that anyone and everyone can have access to, especially I think with the star beings, we need food, we need water, we need all these things, but we actually also need light. And I think that's why a lot of people's bodies break down or they don't feel great. It's just they forget that they need to ask for more light, or even to just like when you're at the ocean or on the beach and you're like, hey, like taking in nutrients from the water, nutrients from the land, different ways to get more energy into the body. So the quantum particle breaks that down. And I actually have lots of fun money manifestation programs, but for me, it's kind of like you're playing with the quantum and like money is it's a neutral, it's a neutral thing that you can just like play with in the quantum. So so that's kind of a fun thing that I often, play. Like I have a lot of fun money programs. I've had clients go from like $1 million year to $3 million year. Like I had this one client go from like a $10 million year to $10 million month. And it's just playing with the quantum and taking away the fear or the negative charge around it, and to just get into like play and imagination and creativity. And then the money just comes in from a different portal. It's created from love instead of fear. And so that's a big piece for me. I feel like money is the bloodline of the planet right now. And so when there's all these illusions and distorted stories around it, makes it hard for people to receive it. So my job is to teach people to like clear that frequency, get back into the love, get playful, and just like let it in.
Love that, because I agree that, there are a lot of strange connotations depending on how you were raised, your socioeconomic experience around money. And, or maybe even a belief system that's like, no, I'm supposed to give all my money away, or, all of that weirdness that it sounds like you're just like, oh, let's just move through that. Money is energy, people.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, what do you think about that, Pamela? Because I know that you kind of, at the Llewellyn Con, you kind of talked about money is energy, people.
Oh yeah, I'm 100% big on money. Same thoughts as Sam. We love money, we love abundance, and I think that's because I was poor. I moved out at a very young age when I was 16 and I couldn't pay my bills. I was working, going to high school. I couldn't pay my bills for a long time. And actually it was when I began to play with energies and magic and rituals that more money started coming into my life. And I think part of my drive is if I was this person who didn't have money and I was partying all the time and I could achieve what I am right now, then this can work for anybody. I think it's just they don't know how it works. And I think many people, many coaches have great ideas and systems. And it's just you learning what is best for your energy, best for you, and learning a system that can help you manifest everything that you want, especially money, because a lot of people do say money is not important. I think it's very important because literally, if we're stressed and worried about bills and our groceries and having the money to, the regular things in life, then we wouldn't have the money for expansion, like Sam said, for play, for spirituality, right? You can't be in your spirituality if you're worried about paying bills.
Right. I agree. You kind of reminded me of the part in that Tom Hanks in, what was that show that he did, Forrest Gump, and they told him that he's like now a millionaire, and he's like, they're like, what do you think about it? And he's like, well, that's one less thing to worry about,
Yeah. Yes,
I abs
definitely.
I absolutely love that. Is there some sort of a tip or quick trick? I know that's reaching, but a little takeaway that, like, maybe a to-do for the audience from each of you. You're both nodding, so I'm like, okay, good. They got something. I didn't just throw them a huge curveball. So, who wants to? Samantha, go ahead and tell us your tip for the listeners.
So my tip is to create from this heart energy, which is like an actual feeling from the heart instead of your survival programs. So imagine you're creating a hologram, a video game of
Mhm.
reality. Don't put your fear and survival programs onto money or your relationship or anything like that. Like, get into your love, get into your heart space, and then text, and then write an email, and then create the hologram of your reality from that love space. So whatever you need to do to get into that space, whether that's like you're journaling and writing your desired destiny, or you're jogging or you're dancing in the morning, get yourself into that beautiful heart open space and then create. And if you can create from there, people feel you differently. you get different responses. The universe is just mirroring yourself back to you.
Oh, I love that. So it's really just from the heart, just come from the heart. I love that because the heart also has neurons. But unlike the brain, the left hemisphere of the brain can be programmed and this and that. The heart is true. The heart wants to connect, the heart radiates. So I love that. I would even highly recommend, checking out Samantha and what she does if this is resonating with you. I believe it's www.samanthablossom.com. I will have all of that in the comments. So, Pamela, what do you have for us? Give us one of your magical tips or tricks.
Yeah, so I actually have a really easy but powerful money spell that I actually shared at a Llewellyn con. And she wasn't my client, but she used it. She was broke. She had no money in her bank account, all these debts. She used it, and within 3 to 6 months, she manifested the money to work with me. And now she's making 6 figures in her business within 8 months. So this is a really powerful spell, and anybody can do it. So it's called the Cinnamon Money Spell. All you need is your wallet. And so I want you to put your biggest bill in there. So if you have, $1, $5, 10, 20, 100, whatever it is, put it inside. And you're going to put cinnamon. So I just have a cinnamon stick that I broke. If you don't want to get your wallet dirty, you can wrap it with saran wrap or put it in a little plastic bag or something, or cloth, and put it in, and you just drop it in. I'm also going to add something new. I'm going to add a mandarin peel. Yeah, so mandarin orange peel. I just dry it, and then you can put it in there, and then go ahead and just leave your wallet open, and you're going to speak your intention into the wallet. So I am so happy and grateful that I already have $100,000 in my bank account, and money consistently comes in, and it's so easy, so fun, and so fast. Whatever you want to say, but say it as if it has already happened. And you can do this one time and place this on your money frog altar, or maybe yep, she got it. Or maybe you can open your wallet every single day and repeat this, right? Like you said, reprogramming our brain. And so this is a really easy, beautiful money spell that anybody can do.
Love that. I absolutely love that. And for me, I'm gonna totally do that because that just sounds like fun and why not? But for me, for the listeners out there that are like, well, should I do it? What do you recommend? One time or a bunch of times? My point of view, and I want to hear your points of view, is that the first time you do the magic, it's already done. The other times that you repeat it every day is to reprogram you. It's not to strengthen the magic. The magic is already there. It's to reprogram you. What do you guys, I mean, am I off my rocker or what do you think
Yeah,
about that?
yeah, definitely. If you already have like a daily practice, then you could just do it once and it's okay. I think my client just did it once and it like worked. I have other practices that I do, but you can always, say, money, I love you, money loves me, and whatever you want to keep affirming, that would be really powerful. You affirm it, right? You affirm it until you are it.
Love that. What do you think, Sam, Samantha? I'm like
So
all your best friend now. I'm all, hey, Sam, hey, Pam. At the beginning, it was like Samantha and Pamela, now I'm all, hey, Sam, what do you think?
I love that. So the thing that you love the most and that you're most obsessed with is what you manifest. And so what happens is people accidentally are rejecting money, right? And so with the more that they can, because it's not just the words, money loves me, I love money, right? But because if they said that and they actually feel prickles in their body, they're accidentally rejecting it. So in order to create the frequency of it, it's more like, oh, it makes me feel so good. Like I feel like cotton candy, like holding me, like find the colors, find the imagery, find the words that's actually going to like elicit the emotions. And it is funny because in one of my courses, I actually talked about dragons protecting your bank account and them kind of like sucking out any like toxins out of it, any like negative thoughts and beliefs out of it, and then blowing gold light into the bank account and just
Mm.
like really raising the frequency of the bank account that way.
I absolutely love that. I'm going to do both of those practices. So, anyway, thank you so much, not only for being on the show, but for writing this book, The Mandarin Tree. It is out in the public. You can get it wherever you get books. Shout out to Llewellyn. I just really appreciate you guys. Is there any final goodbyes that each of you wanted to say? Pam, say your little goodbyes.
I just want to say thank you so much for having us on. And this was a really, really fun, magical interview. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And hope you have tons of magic and abundance in your life.
Love that.
Hey, this was so fun. Thank you so much. Thank you to the audience. Thank you to Granddaughter Crow. Amazing. Like what magic. Like I can just feel your energy. It's so good. And but I am gonna take this opportunity to be like, if you do get our book on Amazon, please leave us 5 stars. And if you think of it as like the book is planting prosperity trees like all over the planet. So this is like for the collective, you know? And we would love to see this movie or this book manifest into a movie, kind of like a Asian version of like Harry Potter. So I'm just gonna put that seed into the universe.
Going to water that seed because that sounds amazing. So thank you both, Pamela Chen and Samantha Blossom. And thank you, listeners, for once again tuning in to another episode of Belief Being and Beyond. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, and share with those who you know want to manifest abundance, yo-yo, as well as if you're listening on wherever you get your podcast. Text the show. I get so excited. Text the show. I can't text you back, but I can give you a call out, and I love to hear what you guys are doing. So, with that, goodbye, everybody. Love you, and see you on the flippity flip.